What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour, the NBA Finals edition. I'm your host, the big man on campus. We are back here live, Game 2 preview coming up here in just a second. We are, as always, powered by PicksWise and presented by FanDuel. Hope you're having a great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are. Killed it in Game 1. Everything we gave out came in. First half, full game, everything. Props, shout out to some of the commenters. Cameron Johnson, that was a banger. Spread, we took a page out of your book with going to some of the smaller players and going with them. It was a banner night for the Suns in Game 1. Just a really nice, clinical win. Got some bad news late for a lot of people. I think they thought that with Giannis Antetokounmpo out, that wasn't good news. Or with him playing, I mean, they thought he'd be out. He ended up playing. Didn't matter, though. Suns roll. Spread Astaire, how you doing today? Good to see you, our guest today.
Yeah, I'm doing great. And you were right. What a clinical win. Chris Paul looked fantastic in the pick and roll. The Bucks seemingly had no answers. So if they can't figure it out tonight, it could be another long night for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, we're gonna get into what we saw in Game 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out the show. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. And thanks for viewing us here. We are here all the way through the NBA Finals. That could be 4 games. That might be 5, 6, 7 games. Really depends. We'll see. We'll break Game 2 down here in just a second, live in Phoenix. Suns were great. You mentioned the pick and roll. You mentioned just everything. I mean, you look at Jay Crowder. He didn't do anything offensively, but he rebounded and defended. Bridges did his 3-and-D stuff. He had 14 points. Ayton, 22 and 19. The typical DeAndre Ayton game. Booker had 27. Chris Paul had 32. Keep in mind, he had no points going into the second quarter. Johnson and Payne both had 10. Just exactly what you want. This is what a superstar championship caliber team does. And Giannis played pretty well. I was actually very surprised with how good he played. 20 points, 17 boards, 4 assists. He was effective, but Middleton and Antetokounmpo, they can't be the only ones that give you something. You need to get more out of Holiday. You need to get something out of the bench. They didn't really give you much. It is what it is.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff there. You mentioned Holiday, and that's been an issue, right? He looks so good in the games that Giannis missed. Eric Bledsoe, kind of the same way when he was running the point with Giannis. Really wasn't that effective when Giannis was out there, and then would play really well in the minutes he wasn't on the floor. So Budenholzer is going to have to figure that out and figure it out quickly. One thing I noted about Giannis, he looked really good early in the game. It seemed to wear down on him. Kind of reminded me of the way Embiid looked during the Sixers series, where, yeah, you can get out there and move on it, but as the game gets on, moving a little more gingerly. And I thought the place that really showed up was in transition. I saw a lot of plays where normally in transition he'd get out, he'd get ahead, he'd get to the rim easily. He wasn't really able to blow by his opponents, and there made the transition opportunities not as good. And I really think that his status tonight makes tonight's game tougher to handicap, because I didn't even think he would be here. So just because he wasn't looking 100% last game doesn't mean he won't improve a lot until this game. Supposedly there's no structural damage. It just needs rest. He should be getting better and feeling stronger for each game here. What did you think of Giannis's performance?
I thought from from that lateral movement, that was a little slow, but I thought he looked fine. I mean, I thought, right out of the gate, I was actually, I went out to dinner with a friend of mine. It's like a bar, restaurant, and we were watching the game, and I said to the bartender that I know there, I said, wow, he said he looks fine. I said, he looks fine. I mean, he was moving, he cut the alley-oop. I thought he looked very good. I think it's only going to improve. I mean, 20 points is low for him a lot of the time. I think he looked just fine, and that's one of the reasons that are going to aid in what I'm thinking tonight and how it goes. But a couple of questions here before we get into the actual prediction. A lot of people talking about props, things like that. Here's a good one. Spread. I'll be in Sacramento this weekend. Any recommendations for sports bars?
I need money. Let me get back to you on that. We actually don't have a good sports bar scene out here. It's for whatever reason, it just doesn't really pop off. Let me
Spread's
jump
like a
off and
dad
see
too.
in there.
Like, he doesn't really.
Yeah.
You're not
And a
you
lot
don't
of
see
stuff
it
has
anymore.
changed since the pandemic too, like
Yeah.
the stuff that's closed down and reopened.
I
But
need money. Reach out to Spread on Twitter at Spread
yeah,
Astaire. DM him. I'm
and,
sure I'll
and
get
I'll
you
t-
some.
I'll text a couple of my younger buddies, and I'll get back to you by
There
the
you
end of the
go.
day.
Perfect. All right, let's get into tonight's action. Game two, big game. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks. You would listen. Go down 2-0. It's not impossible, but if you lose tonight, it's probably game over, right?
No, I don't think so. When you're on the
No.
road, you can afford to go down 2-0. You know, you can go back, you win two at home, which isn't that crazy, and you've reset the series. And then we have a 3-game series, but you're going back to Phoenix with some momentum. So I wouldn't say this is like, a must win or write the series off if they lose tonight.
Phoenix laying 5. Total is 220.5. If you like the Bucks, you think they can win plus 172 on the money line. A pretty good price there if you think we see a zigzag. Spread, you've talked about zigzags before. Look, I'm going to come out right out and say it. I thought, and I continue to be impressed by Milwaukee. Listen, at certain points in that game, though, they were getting blown out. I mean, in the third quarter, they were down 20 at one point. I thought they made a pretty impressive run to get back into it and kind of make it a game. They kind of kept it within 10 the entire time. But, when I continue to look at the Bucks, and I continue to look at the Bucks, and I continue to look at the Bucks, they just don't get a ton of production, man. I mean, Middleton is kind of a hit or miss guy. Some nights he looks like an incredible player. Some nights he looks bad, frankly. Drew Holiday, I don't know if I can trust him. I guess generally you expect him to play well. I need the Bobby Portis. I need the Connaughton. I need the Forbes. I need all those guys to play well because I know on the other side, Payne, Johnson, those guys are going to give me something off the bench. I also don't think Chris Paul will go crazy. I expect Mike Budenholzer to make some adjustments. I thought this line would frankly be a bit lower. I was thinking 4.5. The fact that we can get a full 5 here, I'm going to be honest. I think you get a good performance tonight out of the Bucks. I think this is a closer game. I think this is kind of a lot like what we saw, in the first quarter. Bucks kind of have the lead. It goes back and forth. By the end of it, I think we shake out. This game's closed. I just don't think we see a blowout like we saw in Game 1. I like the Suns. They feed off that crowd. I thought a lot of things, though, went their way. We also look at the free throw discrepancy. The Phoenix Suns shot 25 free throws. The Bucks shot 9. That just shouldn't happen in a playoff game. It just shouldn't. In no way should you shoot 16 more free throws than your opponent. I get there's home court advantage. I can understand 3 or 4. But 16?
Yeah, and it wasn't just like the Phoenix was getting to the rim every time, and the Bucks were settling for jump shots. The Bucks were getting to the rim too. I do expect that to even out. And that's a huge factor in the way that I'm looking at this game tonight. I do think that evens out. I also do agree that Chris Paul, do you think he's going to do that again? Maybe. Trae Young went for 46 or 47 in Game 1 against the Bucks. Never had a game like that the rest of the series. So even though we say that Budenholzer never makes adjustments, he obviously figured something out there. Look for that tonight as well. Brook Lopez, to me, is kind of a conundrum. So I've been more pro Brook Lopez than most of the people that I do shows with or that I follow on Twitter. Most people seem to think that he's this massive liability on defense.
He got destroyed in Game 1.
He did. And they made the run when he was on the bench, and they ran Giannis at the 5, and then they can switch 1 through 5, which seems to be the best way to attack this. Now, where that comes into tonight is, do you think that they will try and do that early, or do you think Budenholzer keeps it, in the bag towards the end of the game, like he did last game? Which normally I would say he wouldn't, but with Giannis not necessarily being 100%, do you think maybe a little less wear and tear, and they don't switch to that till the end of the game?
Well, I feel like, as you said, it was effective. So, listen, I think they, I'll be honest with Budenholzer. Like, he made some decent decisions in Game 1. He was kind of getting beaten up over that drop coverage and all that kind of different stuff. Listen, Lopez it just is what it is with him. I think, I don't know. I trust him to make the right decisions, weirdly enough, but I don't know. What do you think?
I personally would like to see Giannis at the 5 earlier in the game, and if I knew that we were going to get more of that, I would definitely feel more comfortable about being on the +5. That being said, I think I'm going to probably fall onto the +5 regardless.
Yeah.
But if I had a better idea that that's what we were going to get, I'd feel a little more comfortable about it. The other thing that, like you mentioned, we need more. If you're going to take that +5, you're expecting Drew Holiday to bounce back. But it's been up with Holiday and Middleton. They've both been wildly inconsistent, where they almost epitomize the zigzag as well, right? I mean, Middleton will drop like a fantastic performance and then be invisible the next night and then drop another fantastic performance. So wouldn't surprise me that much if Holiday was able to bounce back.
I mean, all in all, this is pretty interesting. Like, we knock Holiday because he's had like 1 or 2 games where he scores like 10 points at 40 minutes or 6 in 42 minutes and then shoot the ball well. But you look at him both those games, 12 and 9 assists. He's had some big time games. I'm not that worried because, again, I lean more towards those guys being able to perform against not being able to perform. They're not going to just not show up. Couple things. Someone mentioned just now in the chat about Dario Saric. That's not a great loss. Obviously, that hurts. I mean, they were actually quite good when he was on the floor because that means they don't have to play Frank Kaminsky or like an undersized Torrey Craig. That's kind of a big loss. I kind of agree with that comment. He's out with an ACL. Also, this is interesting from Bet Labs. This is great stuff. 36 3-pointers for the Bucks in Game 1. 31 of them did not have a son within at least 4 feet of the shooter. So that would, point out that there was a lot of open looks for the Bucks. They didn't make them. But that seems like something we've talked about a lot with the Bucks this year, where in the playoffs they're just not making shots. They go 5 for 30 from 3, all the way back to that Miami series. It was ugly. I just think the matchups, I was actually quite surprised. I thought they were a bit better than I thought they'd be. I'm taking the Bucks here. I think they bounce back. I think they get the job done tonight. I think they go in and get one out of it. And I think this turns into quite a good series. I was impressed with how good Giannis was. I think he's only a little bit better tonight. Look, I've knocked the Bucks many. I hate the Bucks. I never win when I bet on them. I got a great Game 1. I got a little money to play with after Game 1. Hopefully we can put it back in motion. I will say this. Props, I'm going back to, and shout out to the guy that brought this up. I'm going back to the well with Cameron Johnson tonight. This guy's playing 25 minutes a game for the most part. He's making shots. He's rolling right now. His point total is only 7.5 tonight. That's too low. I mean, I'll gladly play 7.5. I think he's good for 10 a game. He shoots a lot of threes. What do you think about Cameron Johnson? Whether it's 6.5 or 7.5, it doesn't really do much to me because if he hits 2 threes, I wouldn't have hit 6.5. So I'm hoping for 8 to 10 out of Cameron Johnson.
Yeah, I like that play, and that's one where it doesn't seem on the surface to make sense, but with how short these playoff rotations are, Sarge being out helps these numbers, right? So we might have a slight edge because these books are throwing up the numbers based on the averages for the year, more heavily weighted towards recent results. But how do you factor in, a key contributor taking 20 minutes out of the game? How much more will that add to Cam Johnson, who's a wing,
but even
not a
without
center?
those, he's getting like him and Payne are the guys off the bench. They're the two guys. He's getting 25 minutes every game. Look at the last 7 games for Cameron Johnson. 10, 14, 5, 12, 11, 12.
Right.
I mean, and the good thing about him is the volume's there. I mean, he's taken 6 to 8 field goals a game, throwing up a couple of threes. I mean, the kid shoots the ball well.
Yeah.
And he averages 10 a game. During the season, he was averaging 10 a game.
He's the beneficiary, right, of how strong the other offensive players are as well, right? He's the 4th option, most likely, if he's on the floor with the starters, right? They're going to go to Ayton, Paul, and Booker before him. All the attention is going to be on Ayton, Booker, and Paul.
And how many times was he wide open in the corner? A couple of
Exactly,
times.
because they drive, and then, they're going to obviously rotate to follow. And Cam Johnson and Cam Payne, the other one you mentioned, were the beneficiaries of that. And talk about not being 4 feet. I mean, Cam Payne had shots where there wasn't anyone within 8 feet. Like, no one was even at the nail when he was shooting those
Spread,
shots.
the other night, like I said, I was at the bar restaurant I was eating, and I was just putting together some same game parlays. I
Hmm.
put one together the other night. Listen to this one. Bobby Portis, one or more made threes. That came in.
Hmm.
Ayton, 10 or more rebounds. He blew that out of the water. And then I had wanted to take Cameron Johnson over 6.5. I was going to parlay all
Hmm.
three together. I wasn't drunk. I don't drink. I was talking. I was doing something, and I hit Cameron Payne as opposed to Cameron Johnson. And I'm thinking like Cameron Johnson gets it with like 5 minutes ago. And I'm like, beautiful. I log into my FanDuel and I see I have Cameron Payne over 6.5, and he's only has 5 points. I'm like, come on, man. Like this is whack. And I'm just thinking, and then Cameron Payne had the ball and he just drove, and I thought he was gonna kick, and he goes into the lane and gets fouled. I think he got fouled, or no, he made a layup, and I was like, all right, beautiful. It ended up working out either way. So this guy says, give me some credit. I did. I gave you credit last time. Good call, Hunter. You mentioned Cameron Johnson. Should I give you credit every show we have because you gave us Cameron Johnson? Great work, man. There's my great work again.
Although I think I disagree with Hunter. If you want to talk about the total here, he says 223 combined points total. Bucks didn't play all that great. Good spot for another over with it at 220.5. I actually was thinking the opposite. I was actually thinking it's a spot for it to go under. This game was
It
trending under
barely
most of the
got there
game.
last game.
Yeah, it was trending under most of the game. The fact that it went over, I think, gives us a little bit of value to go back on the under. And he talks about it being 220. That was based off a late move as well. So remember when this game was originally lined, before the line movement got involved, it was sitting at about 218, 219. So if I can get under 220.5 again, I disagree with him there. And then, we can, because Sunday's another day for me. So Hunter can talk about who's right and who's wrong on that one. But I prefer the under. What do you think of the total?
Yeah, I mean, the problem that I have with unders in this series is like the Suns are very good 3-point shooting, very good 3-point shooting team, and as I said, I mean their 3-point defense was wretched in Game 1. I mean, if Milwaukee makes a couple of those looks, and that's where I kind of agree with him in a way there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You don't think Paul slows down a bit? That was another key to the game. Were you surprised how fast the Suns were getting to their offensive sets?
Maybe they said to him, "Look, we got to speed this up."
It worked too. I mean, you can't.
I mean, when he was out, they were speeding it up, and it was really effective. So yeah, I think we kind of saw something there. I don't know. I always look at it like elite shot makers, and I just think on the floor with these two teams, there are just so many of them, and both teams are very good from a 3-point standpoint. Who's the better defensive team to you in this team? It's definitely the Suns, right?
I don't really mind the Bucks defensively. I mean, technically, the Bucks came in with the best defensive rating of the full playoffs, and you got to give them credit because they won against Kevin Durant in one of those series. And I didn't think they defended that poorly in the last game. Like you said, the Suns just might have the more elite shot makers, especially like one-on-one ISO against really strong defenders.
Middleton, Holiday need to be more aggressive, need
Right.
more free throw attempts. I thought Giannis, I don't know what his numbers ended up being. I thought it was actually decently effective from the line. He seemed to go 1 from 2. He didn't go 0 for 2, I don't feel like, at any point. So even the crowd chanting didn't get it to him too much. But no, they need to be more aggressive. They need to get to the line more. I mean, did anyone get to the line outside of Giannis? I think Giannis had 7 attempts, and Middleton and Holiday had 2 combined. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
brutal.
I'd expect Holiday to get a much more friendly whistle. Now, Middleton likes to work those ISO jump shots a lot, so it doesn't surprise me when he doesn't get a lot of calls. But Holiday usually does an excellent job of getting to the rim, and expect maybe a friendlier whistle for that tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm going. I'm going to the. I took the Suns in the first game, Game 1. I took the first half in full. Blackjack like full game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks here. I'm gonna take the 5, and I'm gonna look into some props here. I will say a prop I'm on: Cameron Johnson over 7.5 for sure. That's a prop I'm gonna take. I could. And shout out to the kid that mentioned it. I think it's a good shout. I think he's a guy that's going to get 25 minutes. He's not going to be bashful. He's going to take shots. I'm willing to include that. What about DeAndre Ayton? I mean, 10 plus rebounds is almost a shoe in. That's what's his rebound? Let me ask you, 12 plus rebounds for Ayton. What do you think about that?
I don't see until they show that there's a reason not to that that's not going to happen. I don't see why you wouldn't continue.
But
And in
with
fact,
points, rebounds, like I'm more enticed to take rebounds with him in this series, just because. I mean, I think he's just so good there. But then again, points. I mean, it seems like Lopez. He dominated Lopez. Do you just do the combo again? Do you go back to the well? Is it too high?
no, I don't. I think with Aiton, you're not going to go wrong this whole series. They don't really seem to have an answer for him.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. Because I don't want to just take rebounds and he just only hits 11 rebounds or something.
The advantage too is if they do go small. I mean, that's only going to help his rebounding numbers
Yeah,
because
well,
we
that's
talked
true.
about the key might be to take Lopez off, but while that might be better for the Bucks to win the game, it's going to boost up Aiton's rebounding.
All right, so what I'm doing is I'm putting together one of those same games again.
All
I
right.
got Cameron Johnson over 7.5, DeAndre Ayton points rebounds over 29.5, one or more made threes, uh, or under 1.5 threes.
For who?
Gotta go under Brooke Lopez 1.5, right? He didn't make two
He had
threes,
some open shots last time.
which is I feel like that's interesting. I feel like he's just so back to the basket. I guess he does go out.
He'll go to the corner sometimes when they want to move the rim open for Giannis and Holiday.
Yeah, I gotta wait here because there's only a few options right now. But yeah, for props, I'm just gonna go. My main prop that I like is Cameron Johnson over 7.5. I'm gonna go with that. Couple of comments here. Best bet for me, I'm gonna go Bucks +5, and I'm gonna go with Cam Johnson over 7.5. Spread. What do you like?
I like the under 220.5, and I'm also going to play that Bucks with you. But just so we have a little bit of diversity, my best bet will be the under 220.5.
I like DeAndre Ayton over 16.5. Yeah, as we've Spread has talked about, I've talked about. There's really no answer for him. Look, no team has really had an answer for him in these playoffs. He's a back to the basket center. He's just bigger than most. He's physical. I couldn't agree more. Take Crowder over in threes. Yeah, he didn't play well. What about him? Does he bounce back tonight? I think
Yeah,
had
he
one
was the one
point.
I was looking at. I saw an over 10.5. I like that, right? I think that he definitely bounces back tonight, and that could be an issue for Phoenix. He was like what +12, and he was 0 for 8 from the field. I mean, that's funny how those stats lined up there. But yeah, I like Carter to bounce back tonight. I was looking. I didn't. The threes would work too. I think that they'll either one will hit or the other. But I was looking at the over 10.5.
Devin Booker, where's he been? I mean, he's been just so solid, man. I mean, Chris
Yeah.
Paul's obviously got all the love in this series and really the last couple of games, but I mean, I feel like Booker's been terrific. But I'll tell you what, Booker's not shot the ball real well recently either. Have you looked at his numbers?
Yeah,
So
but
let me just point this out, okay? Since let's go back all the way to June 9th. That was in the Nuggets series. I mean, that's like 10 games ago.
mhm.
In the last 10 games, Devin Booker's made three or more threes, or so more than three threes, in just one game. That was against the Clippers. He was 4 for 6, June 28th. I mean, he has not shot the ball well. He hasn't shot the ball well all season. 34% from three. Not good.
Yeah, the only thing that I think sometimes on those numbers, and when you're the primary shot creator, a lot of times you get the ball towards the end of the shot clock, and then you end up hoisting, a one-on-one contested three because your teammates are looking for you to bail out, right? Like Brooke Lopez isn't getting those, Mikal Bridges isn't getting those. So sometimes, even though the percentages aren't as good, you know, when he gets the wide open threes, he's still knocking them down. It's just a lot of them. He's bailing out at the end of the shot clock, especially when Paul was playing slower earlier in the series, and that was, I thought, a big factor in Game 1. But he's still been so effective from the mid range, and when it counts, I think that he's one of the ones because of the degree of difficulty for all the shots that he attempts that I'm not as worried about his low shooting percentage or effective field goal percentage.
I just expect a bounce back for the Bucks tonight. I think they make some adjustments. I think they get more free throw attempts. I think Giannis is a little bit more effective. I don't think Phoenix is as effective offensively. All that I think leads. I'll grab the 5. Listen, I'm kind of in a good spot here for me, right? I have the Suns. I have a future on that group.
Mm-hmm.
If they win tonight, they go up 2-0. I'm really happy with that. It is what it is. But I do think they even it up. I think they go back and make this a bit of a series as we head back to Milwaukee. I think they'll take 1-1, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping it goes that way. The last thing we want, right? I was telling, telling my girlfriend, hey, only have 6 more games this year, the NBA, that because we everything is kind of scheduled around that.
Regardless, yeah. Right,
And I
right,
said,
right.
well, you know what? There might only be three, so I'm hoping it's not that way, right? I'm hoping that we get a long, extended series that we talk about for the ages.
Well,
You
I'll
know,
admit I get paid by the game, so
yeah, yeah.
or by the show. I mean, so.
Yeah, we want the extender Tony Brothers to be in here
But
tonight.
but
So
yeah, I'm looking. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to not that I'm looking forward to the end of the NBA, but I'm looking forward to having a month or so, getting ready
yeah,
for football and preparing. I do want to talk about the Euro here quickly here at the end. We won't get on before then. Next show is going to be on Sunday. I think we'll have Spread back. Kate Kotz will be on with us as well. Marnix says, I like Giannis over 11.5 rebounds. Yeah. I mean, his average is about 11. You just kind of hope he does what he does. I don't know if there's anyone on. Milwaukee's a good rebounding team. Giannis is a big part of that. But keep in mind, outside of game one, he hasn't been that great. You have to go all the way back to you know, June 23rd, last time he had over 11.5 rebounds. So, yeah, I don't know. I more or less like him points tonight. I think he has a better game offensively. Spread final is coming up. Euro final coming up. Italy plus 195, England plus 160. So England is the favorite here, which is a little surprising to me. Look, I'll be real honest. I think this goes into extra time. I think 1-1 seems credible here. I think Italy probably score first. England probably finds something to bounce back. I think we probably go to extra time. There's been a lot of extra time games here. It's generally what you see in the finals. Obviously, I think when you're looking at this game, you right away have to go to lifting the cup. I can get Italy plus 106 to lift the cup. I already have a future on them, so I don't know if I'll be betting this game. But look, I look at England and I just say to myself, until this team actually wins, I don't know. I thought Denmark, there was a lot that they allowed Denmark to do. I think Italy will make them pay if that happens again tonight, or not tonight, over the weekend. Obviously, it's at Wembley, so that's obviously helpful. I think this would be a great game. I don't think I'm going to sit here and try to break it down to you because I think both sides have a lot of talent. If you ask me who is the more talented team, who has the bigger names and the better players, it's going to be England. I do think so. But I think Italy is just the more compact. I think they're the better defensive side. I will gladly trust Bonucci, Chiellini, and those guys over Harry Maguire, frankly. I'm just going to be honest. Do I like Harry Kane? Do I think they get? Do I think that whistle yesterday was that penalty? That was not a penalty. It shouldn't have been called. You can't make those kind of calls in extra time of a semifinal of a EuroLeague game. It's just it's wretched. It was not a foul. It shouldn't have been called. They made it work, but I think Italy. If it's the same game we seen yesterday on Sunday, Italy will win. I think Italy get the job done. I think it's probably an extra time. Might have to go to shootout. But I think these teams are very similar. I like the price I have on Italy, and even to lift the cup, you're getting plus money. I would be in on that. Spread. Have you watched any of this?
I've had it on, but just as a completely casual fan, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it just to have on. I think it's the most that and tennis are the two most relaxing sports to just have on while you're doing stuff
Or
during the
maybe
day. So
golf.
yeah, that's a good one too.
Golf is very nonchalant and just. Yeah, I was watching that match thing the other day. The Mickelson and Brady and Rogers and Kepka, that little thing. But all right, we're out of here. That's that for the show. Thanks for watching. We're back Sunday. We're winding down the show. We're winding down the NBA Finals. We're winding down the playoffs. It's been fun. We'll be here all the way through. Tonight, Bucks +5. I also like Cameron Johnson over 7.5 points. Spread, you like the under, is that correct?
I like the under.
Very good. Spread, thanks as always for joining us. You can find Spread Astaire on Twitter at Spread Astaire. Spread, let us know what you have going on.
Yeah, at Spread Astaire, I had a couple articles this week for Sportsbook Review. So if you want to read my thoughts on the Lakers title window, and Ben Simmons trade possibilities. Those are up right now. You can catch the links on my page. We'll continue the Wimbledon coverage, and of course, I'll be back with you on Sunday to discuss Game 3.
How's Wimbledon going?
Going good. So as we were having this discussion, Carolina Pliskova has made her second appearance in the finals. So she gets the upset win. She's going to play Ash Barty. So Ash Barty has won a Grand Slam, but not Wimbledon before. This will be Pliskova's first Grand Slam. My guess is that they're going to line Pliskova at about plus 150. I'll be interested. It might be looking to get on her. And of course, on the men's side, it still seems like the inevitable march for success towards Novak Djokovic. So we'll see if one of these guys can pull off the major upset. But the way he's looking right now, it looks like it's going to be another slam for Novak.
You're talking in tongues to me. I don't know what that is. But hey, go if you like tennis, you wanted tennis picks, go check out Spread Astaire. He's got it going on with that. Very good stuff. Spread, good to see you. If you want to find me on Twitter. You know where I'm at. But if you want to check out my Mafia podcast, go check it out, Mafia History. It's called The Sit Down. We put out a show yesterday on Anthony Casso, Lucchese underboss, a very violent guy. Had a scheme that just was one of the most popular and most lucrative in the history of the mob, so go check that out. Really violent stretch on the show. We're doing a lot of very violent people. We got Roy DeMeo next week, so it's going to continue to be very violent. We went from, listen to this, Al Capone, Scarpa, Cabani Savage, Anthony Casso, and then Roy DeMeo next week. So
wow,
very violent. 1,000 people they killed probably combined between all of them. So go check that out. Also, just going to say, my birthday is Saturday, so any gifts, forward them to me. You know where to find me. And the local deli that I go to has chicken corn soup today, so it's a great day. Shout out to them. Chicken corn soup, a Amish delicacy. Remember that. We got to get you out to Amish country, Spread.
All right, yeah, definitely.
All right. Hey, hit that guy up about the bars. Hit Spread up. He'll get to your spot. Spread, thanks for joining us. We'll see you Sunday. Thanks for coming.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, guys. We're out of here. Presented by Pickswise and powered by Fan Notes Hoops Betting Hour. I'm the big man of campus, Jeff Nadu. He's Spread Astaire. See you Sunday.